Welcome, guys. It's so good to always see the familiar faces. Let's give a little bit of time for everyone to join. And Arnett, I would love to go over your question regarding privacy or privacy, depending on where you're at. So that's on my docket for the start of this call. Yes, I did. I think I beat you, didn't I? Started answering that before you even asked me. But basically, that's one of my goals to kind of try and cover that because I think security is a pretty big topic. Maybe a few more things will come out of it, a few more notes or concerns from people's side. First and foremost, I wanted to say I couldn't make it this Monday due to a personal matter, but I am back now. So I will be able to make Mondays again. This is why I never replied to your DM, but I did see it. So just so you know, we will cover it now together, which is, I think, the best place to cover it anyways, because I think a lot of us are thinking about security. I think I even touched on this last Wednesday when I mentioned that a lot of us are just clicking, I agree to everything without even reading the fine print. So I think that's going to be a good thing to cover. Last week, you had me on 2 sessions. This week, it was only 1. And that is due to, again, personal matter. But starting Monday, I'll be able to come to 2 sessions again. Welcome. I can see we have a new joiner as well, which is Justin. Welcome, Justin. I'm just going to give you the TLDR of our calls because most of the people here are very regular joiners, so they know how it goes.
Will be one soon.
Yes, that is amazing to hear. All right, let me give you the TLDR. So I'm Vic. I host one of these calls, usually 2. This week, it was only 1 of these calls on the calendar. Alongside Julian, I co-founded the AI Profit Boardroom. And basically, we've been doing our best to try and help you guys, teach you guys about AI automation, regardless of what stage in knowledge you are. A lot of people are sometimes even a lot more knowledgeable than us, but maybe don't understand how to apply it in a practical world. So we try to help them with that, teach them everything in that regard. What I do usually when we have new joiners is I like to ask them to introduce themselves, kind of give us a little bit of information of what are they working, how are they using AI and AI automation. So if you would be okay with that, Justin, give us a little bit of information of who is Justin, what is Justin working on, and how can I help you today?
Yes, sir. So my name is Justin Alvin. I recently, a couple months ago, left my career of 15 years to found my AI consulting / automation agency. The company name is JJ AI Labs. And I do have a first client I am working on. It's a deal that in year 1 will bring in $37,500 off just one deal. It is an attorney's office who specialize in elder care. So they bombarded and just buried in about 3,000 pages of documents per month. And what I come in to do is say, hey, just drag them, drop them here, run OCR, we'll sort them, we'll get them into new Excel spreadsheets, they use Microsoft apps, and we'll get it to update cumulatively for each client transaction because they need to, and so that's only one aspect. The second aspect is they need to be able to query the data. So I'm thinking of a chatbot with RAG, agentic, that will be able to say, hey, how many $500 withdrawals has John Smith taken in the year of 2025?
I get you, Justin. So feel free to drop a link if you want to of your page. I think you said
AI Labs, yes. And I'm still working on my website, but I'm like,
all good then.
Policymaker's shoe is always broken, but
that is very true. That is a good analogy. And don't worry about it. I was just saying, like, if anyone wants to get in touch, or maybe there's something that you might help certain individual people within the community, I always encourage people to feel free to share their MVPs or the companies or whatever they're working on, as long as it's not very advertising in the sense that drop everything and join me. I don't like
right.
that.
No.
If you want to be informed or if you want to test our product or whatever it may be. Anyways, feel free to share it once it's ready so that everyone can take a look and maybe be able to either be interested or maybe give you some feedback. Now,
yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, the 2 things you mentioned. So I think that you're pretty much, because you're an AI consultant, you're pretty much there with your knowledge and you kind of understand what other things you need to do for this, I think you said legal space client. So that's awesome. I think that you won't have as much difficulty as maybe you would have like a month ago or 2 months ago if you were thinking specifically around like even document reading, whether those are in PDF or whatever format they may be. I think everything is advancing now, especially in context windows are increasing. So it's going to be even better. The only thing that I have seen happen sometimes is if you try to, like you were saying, it's going to be a drag and drop system. If one of those PDFs is way too big, then maybe it crashes or bugs out or something and doesn't take all the data in. But I did want to ask you, when it comes to the second part, right, the chatbot that you were envisioning, where is the chatbot or however you envision it drawing the information from? Is everything going to be stored in, for example, Google Drive or cloud storage?
Thinking Supabase.
Supabase. That makes sense. That makes sense. That's very good.
Believe
Yeah.
me, on my first project, without an actual degree in software engineering,
You don't need a
I've
degree.
learned a lot when I made the jump to say, I'm done with my 15 years of this real estate and finance background. It's good because they're still my natural market. I can talk the talk, walk the walk with them.
Yeah.
I know what they're going through. I used to do lunch and learns for many
That's really good.
agencies. So yeah, I definitely bit off more than I can chew in the beginning. But I'm beginning to be able to chew it up a little bit. So
I'll give you just this one little snippet here that I think you're going to have as advantage over a lot of people is basically you have the understanding of where their pain is and you
Yes.
understand how to first crank up the pain because that is what a good salesperson does. They always crank up the pain and then give you a solution or give you something that is going to remedy that pain, lesser the pain, whatever it may be. So you being from that space just gives you very good insight into, okay, I know what their pains are. And you are currently probably in the stage where you're discovering solutions or creating them. Once you do your
Yes.
first one, it's going to be so easy to then market it. I would give you a small advice. Make sure to go after, regardless of how slow it is or how maybe wonky it is because it's your first project, go for that testimonial, ask them to give you some praise because that's going to really, I know you know these things, but I love repeating stuff for the sake of, I think it's a Latin proverb that says like repetition is the mother of study or something like this.
Love it.
I subscribe to that. So just make sure you ask them for a little bit of a testimonial or whatever they might give, and then use that as social proofing for the next client.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Because you're basically laying the groundworks right now. And what this is going to enable you is every time you go into the next one, it's just going to be about fine tuning it for their specific use case rather than building it from scratch. This is what we've done with a lot of our AI automation offer as well is we made sure that it works by testing it internally first. And once we saw it internally, we were like, okay, what does this solve? Or what does it allow an end user to do after they use this type of system, automation, or whatever it may be? So you're thinking perfectly there, right? Just make sure you get the initial scope of it to work. And afterwards, it's all about fine tuning, adjusting, a little bit of this and that.
I'm not the type to, hey, here's a $6,000 automation, have a nice life. No, I definitely stick with these clients. I let them know, hey, I'm not here to just sell you something. I'm here to create a solution and I'm going to be here for it. We're going to make it better over time. And yeah, that's my mindset.
I love it, Justin. I love it. And thank you for that intro. We're going to get back to you just because we had a couple of more people join the room. So
sure.
I want to
Thank you very much.
No, my pleasure, Justin. Please feel free to, once I'm done with the intros, feel free to unmute or raise your hand or drop something in chat. I'll do my best to help. But yeah, we had a couple more people join. So we had Matt, Jason, Sarita, Ricardo, Kyle. Welcome, Ivory. I know we spoke over DMs, Ivory. I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, but it's very nice to see you. And then we also have Manny raising his hand. So usually how we do is drop something in chat, raise your hand or start talking. Manny, let's go to you first because I saw your hand up.
Hi, afternoon. But just a quick one. So over the weekend, I encountered an issue with my laptop and it kind of went crazy on me. So I had to reset it. It was on Windows 10. Now I've gone on to Windows 11. So after all of that, I was trying to install the NA10 locally. I can't do it. It's not working. I don't understand how it's not working.
Windows 11.
So obviously, there's other people who've got it locally. Maybe if there's somewhere or somehow.
1 sec, I'm trying to fetch something for you.
Because, do you know, from the classroom where you've actually got it in, it's not letting me do it even through the CMD or the terminal. So I'm just asking if there's anything where I could get better help on this.
So I think, Manny, the easiest thing for me to do is just send you a video. I need to see, because I know both Julian and I use Macs. I need to find someone that has installed it on a Windows 11. And I just found one that has that exact title. It says how to install NA10 locally on Windows 11. It's 3 weeks old. It doesn't have many views, but maybe this is a good video. I'll just link it for you. And in case it's not a good video, I'll make sure to find some resource for you, Manny, and send it your way.
Because what's happening is, it goes through what's called a WSL,
Okay.
like a Linux thing. So that's something which I've got no idea with. However, that's the issue which I'm having in terms of doing that. Okay, I'll go into that and then see what I could do.
Yeah. So it takes you through, it kind of starts at the 40th second. It takes you through Docker. You download Docker. That's fine. I'm trying to skip through it to see. Once you're down,
Just seen on it to put in that he uses a Windows 11 machine. So
yeah,
might be worth me jumping on. Thank you for that on it.
you're welcome. I hope this helps. If it doesn't, I do see something Linux here that it pops up, but I can see the WSL as well. To see if this installation guide helps you. And if it doesn't, for whatever reason, just drop me a note and I'll see if I can find something else for you. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Well, I'll try speaking to Dr. Jeff as well.
Oh, that's a really good one. I didn't even know Arnett, to be honest.
Yeah, I've just read the notes, what next spot on. So I'll give that a go. Appreciate it. Thank you for that.
No,
Cheers.
you're welcome. You're welcome. Matt, 1 second before I go to you, Ricardo, I just saw what you put, the N8N Telegram trigger not triggering a best digital full assistant. Is this from my classroom, the 6-week automation masterclass?
Mhm.
Okay. It's under the expert. Let me just open it up. I want to see. It's right here. How to create your personal AI assistant. That's the one, right? So I noticed that it did this for me once. What I did is I have to create a new bot through BotFather. And once I did that, it actually worked on my second try. And afterwards, it was even working on my first try. However, you're going to need to create separate credentials and even separate automation windows for it.
And
Okay.
in this case, I did it. The trigger is supposed to be a message
Okay.
that. So probably could it be that one?
It
I mean,
shouldn't be. It
Because
shouldn't be.
yeah, because when you can try the connection, test the connection, but then when it goes and listen, no way. Just to be sure, do I have
So-
to write on the bot?
One easy way that I kind of try to see if it's working is I set it to inactive and I just click the execute step and I wait for obviously now it can't do it because I deleted that bot, but I wait for it to listen. And as soon as it hears my first notification, I know it's working. If it doesn't even hear my first notification, it's probably either I have a wrong Telegram connected or the bot hasn't started successfully. And I don't really have an answer as to why this happens. But as you saw in the video, all I had to do is just ensure that it hears me under the pull-in events from Telegram. Maybe if we run out of topics, we can try set this up together here on the coaching call. Otherwise, Ricardo, if you send me a loom after you tried creating a new bot, we can try to see if that works.
You have to send a message through the bot.
Yes, you message on Telegram. So basically the idea is you have your phone and you're out and about.
You open Telegram, go on the bot, and you send a message to the bot.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Yeah, so
That's
like-
all you need to do. Like I was using the desktop Telegram version just so that I could record it for you guys so you can see how I'm sending the message and what that replies to me. But you can use it on your phone. A very good thing you can actually do with this is you can even commercialize it. If you use tools such as web search, you can even create something like find me the latest topic, for example. It uses the internet and it gives you a reply. So you can kind of use it like a personal ChatGPT. It's basically a personal assistant, right? So that's the good part of it. And I intentionally did it with the voice messages as well on the video so that you guys could see that it's actually transcribing the audio, which I think is a pretty cool thing.
That, yeah. Okay.
All right.
I'm gonna try again then.
Yeah.
Also, can I throw in the second question too?
Go for it. Of course.
So basically, I've been trying, as you know, I'm a big fan of GenSpark.
Yes.
Manus, they grow so much in the latest time. Now, I've been able to test Comet, that is the browser
Yeah.
from GenSpark, I think. I'm waiting to test the other browser because I got a Windows and not a Mac, and where you can connect basically everything through MCP. And I'm trying to find out something where you can say, okay, go. I told you many times I'm trying to do that. Go on my WordPress site, change.
Yeah.
Change
I know
name,
exactly
all
your
those
use
kind of
case.
stuff.
I remember it because you wanted an autonomous agent changing, like, for example, the meta description or whatever it may be on WordPress, right? I
Like
do
a-
remember that.
And I see that Abacus is able to do that, but basically it kills the 1 month credit value for a 10-page website. But it messes up when you want to change something in the theme or correct something. It's able to go in, it's very fast also. It's able to go find out, for example, if is there any plugin to update, can do it, and then it's able to change the theme or correct the CSS and those stuff. But sometimes, and being perplexity, it's fine. It's nice because if it doesn't know what to do, it goes and put it. But sometimes I see it goes mad and trying to, like, instead of trying to use some plugin that I had, it's been trying to hard code the schema into the code.
Okay.
So they went a little bit over. And I struggle in giving it like a rail or some guidance where to stay. Now, so basically I got some places where it's working, not enough, other where it's working. A lot of them, they got problem in terms of policies, because I would like to send them and create account around and so on. Not for spam, of course. But many of them, they just don't want.
Yeah. I think,
or they can't in terms of functionality.
okay. I think first comment is from Perplexity. I think Parse browser is just called Genspire browser. Have you tried ChatGPT's new agent mode to see if it works for you?
So the agent mode is able-ish, because when I speak about doing something behind a
Login.
login, it says, no, I'm going to give you the instructions. Say, it's mine. Come on.
Can I show you something real quick? All right. So I just did this as you and I were talking. I was curious. So I quickly created a new chat with basically ChatGPT agent mode, as you can see. And I said, can you enter my WordPress site and create a draft for a blog post using this link? So I just gave one of the websites that I have where I do some SEO testing, and it's went to the website and it's now telling me to take over and to enter credentials. So really quickly, I'm going to stop share because I want to see if this may work. So it's actually even giving you a warning sign. So it's kind of interesting for testing purposes. It's currently giving a warning sign that says, you're about to control ChatGPT's browser. ChatGPT won't take screenshots. Only you can see the info you enter. Browser session will be saved. This may put your data at risk. Signing ChatGPT into websites can expose your data to malicious sites. So I will be doing this at my own risk, but I'm interested in actually testing this. So let me see what happens. So it's letting me control it now. And this is what it looks like. And I can click on both places. So I'm just going to log in here to see if it'll actually create. Once I'm logged in, I'll share my screen again. So let's do this. Oh God. I think it does. So I just logged in.
In UK, they still haven't. And
that's interesting.
Annoying.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so I'm logged in. So let's see if it does this. It's going to posts. It's going to add post. It's trying to click it because apparently it doesn't work. It's trying to manually brute force the page. It's opening the HTML. So maybe this is what you meant earlier when you said, oh, there we go. Okay. There you go. New draft, save draft. So basically it did it. I'm going to give it another instruction now. And I'm going to say, type out a post about AI in 2025 to see if it does it, because it just finished, right? So it gave us a draft, which I think, what was something you wanted to do with this? Did you want to add meta description?
Is there already any article there? That
there is. Let me
just try to see, just try to tell it, check if the blog is okay from an SEO point of view.
Okay. Do you want me to give you the direct link or just the title of it?
So what I've been able to do right now in terms of checking is just saying check. And then when I find something that is not correct, then I say, okay, correct it, and usually they fun happen.
So do you want something like this? Can you go to the post and check if it's good according to SEO standards? Is something like this you want to do?
Yeah. And if something that isn't, fix it.
Let's see. I think this is pretty cool for everyone in the group. This is something that I can definitely do also a lesson on how you can use agent mode for stuff like this. My only concern here, Ricardo, is that I'm using more time on this than I would otherwise if I just did it myself, if that makes sense. But I think maybe your idea is if you figure out an easy way to do this with one prompt, you never have to do it again, right? You just one prompt it and you kind of continue from there. So I think it's going to search now. It actually is searching for the topic instead of scrolling through it. That's interesting. Let's see.
Because the idea was to create, at the end,
Yeah.
the funny idea was to create an agent on N8, where basically it looks every time with Perplexity for the latest AI normal things, then check the website, fix the website automatically, and then there's a position in the video. It's going to create the video, the podcast, all the things, like a super auto SEO thing.
So I think it's now looking at sources. I think it's kind of cool. It's looking at meta description on its own. I didn't even tell it to do that. So I think it's just waiting for stuff and also doing like a background. This is pretty interesting to me. Look, it's looking again at what are the key elements and best practices. Yeah. It also might depend on how good I guess the connection is and everything. But I'll let this cook for now, Ricardo. Like, I think that this is maybe one of the ways, one of the agents that can do it for you. Now, also, please keep in mind, I have no idea. I think I'm limited to 5 minutes of this with my subscription. I honestly have no clue, but let's see. If it's okay, Ricardo, I'll jump to some other people here as well, and then I'll come back to you as this is working in the background right now. Awesome. Thank you so much, Del.
Oh, thank you.
No, it's my pleasure. And tell me if the Telegram thing works out for you so that I can attempt to help you. Okay, Matt, we're going to go to you. And then I actually want to go to our net about something he dropped in my DMs that I think is very important we cover today. So Matt, how you doing, man?
Doing well, thank you. Just wanted to ask a couple quick ones today. First one, we talk about Linux machines. One thing I'm going to be setting up on some Linux, I was recommended by a mentor of mine on some other things when it comes to using AI for personal related issues. I wanted to ask your opinion on Leo with Brave, that AI. And then on a second one, coming to the SEO side of things, just with the Web3 stuff that I've been doing, all those platforms, for some of the lower competition searches, if I did copy paste ChatGPT, didn't get much of an answer, but if I did the exact same query in Perplexity, these Web3 platforms are now starting to get cited in the top 10 sources for some of the lower competition things that I've done for some of it. But I was just going to ask from the SEO standpoint side, where these things are starting to rank on their own, are you seeing a discrepancy in the cited sources between ChatGPT and Perplexity when you copy paste? It doesn't have to be SEO specific. I was just curious if that wide a discrepancy in the cited sources.
Yeah, I think so. I think one of the common ways that people reflect on or call that nowadays is geo. Some people still call it AI SEO or whatever. I think this is what happens, Matt, and I will only give you an assumptive answer because currently there's no definitive answer to this. I think they're using different ways and algorithms of how they rank data that they find on the internet. And also they use multiple entry points where some use just Google, some use Google and Bing as information sources. And this is where the data gets a little bit mixed up, let's say. So this is why different citations would happen to the same question, right? And last but not least, it's still incredibly unclear exactly how each of the LLMs figures out what data is most relevant for the display case when you're searching something in an LLM. But there are some concrete evidence to the following. First, it is still quite obvious that it's pulling data from the top 20 sources on Google, which means that it's always going to prefer websites that have both on-page and off-page SEO optimization, as that is pretty much the only way you're going to rank in the top 20. Second, it really prefers pages with incredibly well-done schema markups, as well as interlinking, as well as just overall very healthy technical SEO practices. So those two things, super crucial. And then third, it really goes off of from the exact search query you're using. So if a page has an exact match post or product page or whatever it is that you're kind of searching for, the chances of it coming first or in the top 3 suggested citations in an LLM, specifically ChatGPT, is a lot higher. So think of it, if it's like a very rigid phrase, like, what is the best popcorn machine in Utah 2025? If you have specifically a post or something on that topic, the chances of you being first as a quoted source or even relevant information given are pretty much sky high compared to everyone else.
I just wanted to let you know that these Web3 platforms with their crawlable Web2 URLs are now at least in perplexity for lower competition phrases. I use the
Yeah.
Google expression. They're
Yeah.
finally starting to get cited as like 3 of the top 11 sources in a couple of these different things over and over again. So as time goes on, I'll send a Loom or some other video that
Yeah.
might be a benefit to you, depending on what the query is. It was the strawberry. They were looking at other things to read decentralized blogging platform websites and things like that. But the one I saw that Julian had in, I guess, in the other thing of the, what's his other class, his other, not the boardroom, but the SEO focused one.
Yeah.
He just put out a video about Claude artifacts. Are you starting to see what they call Parasite SEO like that? Okay. The reason, because most Parasite SEO from, I believe Julian was on a call with Charles Float several months ago and on the SEO side. And Charles is a huge proponent of Parasite SEO, both for generic phrases, like you said, what's the best popcorn machine versus geographic ones. But are you seeing anything else besides these Claude artifacts where these things are hitting page 1 fairly quickly for some competitive terms?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So to be honest with you, we've seen that every time we try to deploy a page specifically through an LLM, it usually ranks high very, very quickly. So if you were to Google AI Profit Boardroom, you're actually going to see one of our pages created from GenSpark as I think the second or third highest result. I need to be very transparent with you. I never kind of thought of it as the fact that it's there is because of Parasite SEO. But the way you kind of put that makes sense, I guess, to me, from they're all coming from the same source, right? With the same main domain. It's only subdomains. I need to do more research to be able to give you a concrete answer on that one, to be honest with you, because I've never taken a look at it from an SEO perspective, specifically about generating websites through LLMs, right? Or AI agents or whatever it may be. So for that one, sorry, I don't actually have a necessary answer. For the Leo Brave, we tested it. I think Julian likes it. It's just, I am always hesitant to use, I think I am maybe a little bit rigid on this, but I use Chrome to this day. I should have swapped to Firefox or Brave or wherever it may be, but I use Chrome a lot. So I haven't really done a lot of testing on specifically Leo, right? So I wouldn't be able to give you a more concrete answer on that. So I do apologize.
Oh, thank you for all of this. This is great. And also for Ricardo, thank you for asking your question. When I get the replay, I was looking at something similar to what you're doing. So thank you for bringing it up this morning.
That's awesome. And Ricardo, I just wanted to show you that this is what happened. Basically, ChatGPT came back to me, giving me a lot of information on what some of my things are that I need to fix. Basically, I said, are you able to implement changes that are needed, such as updating the meta description? It didn't give me an answer. Instead, it just went in and updated the meta description. It has been updated to learn what on-page SEO is and why it matters, plus key components to boost rankings and user experience. The change hasn't been saved yet. Would you like me to click save and publish the updated meta description? So it sort of did the meta description.
Well, one very good would be if you ask it if it's able to place one internal link per article. So if it's able to basically find out to place an internal link.
External. I'll also say an external link and add it. Let's see what happens. So I said, can you add one internal link to this article as well as find an external link that would make sense and add it somewhere in the article too. So let's see what it does. Honestly, I'm just going to stop sharing until it's doing this and I'll update you as we go. Yeah. So Matt, thank you so much for that. That was very helpful. I want to go quickly to our topic because our topic is actually a pretty big one that I really want to touch base on. Arnett, I know, asked as well in Dr. Jeff's call, maybe on Monday, and correct me if I'm wrong, Arnett, but on Monday, he asked something about privacy or privacy, depending on where you're at. I actually saw that because I watched back the call, so I saw you dropping that in chat. Here it is. He said, as current or aspiring AI business operators, solopreneurs, etc., isn't it our responsibility to ensure client privacy? What would be the best way to approach this? For example, would you use a custom cloud computing storage system for processing and handling data? This is a very broad subject with variables, which is completely true. I do agree with that. Could you give a quick TLDR and possibly revisit this topic in a future workshop with a few case studies? Maybe a future lecture is something that we can definitely do. I know that as part of your question, you also asked if we can jump on this with perhaps Jeff, Julian, Jimmy. It's funny how all of them start with J, and myself. Definitely something that I would love to do is actually get a joint session with everyone together. It's not easy arranging those, to be honest with you, but let me see if I can maybe give you some of my take. And please know that I think it's maybe a little bit early in the space, and that's why there's so much uncertainty around the topic of security or even storage and where you would store things. I think primary, and the first thing is, it's definitely your responsibility as a solopreneur or the business owner or even a AI consultant when it comes to client data, right? They trust you with their data. So security and compliance, like GDPR or HIPAA or whatever, they matter from day one. Do I think that people take a lot of precautions or steps for it right now? I don't think so. I think that this will change very quickly as soon as people start understanding a little bit how their data is used. So I think that a lot of people will start maybe being a little bit more cautious or scared or wary of their data once they understand how their data is being used. Now, whether I'm more for a cloud storage or a physical storage or a custom setup, I'll give you this answer. I think there's very good cloud storage trusted providers like AWS or Azure. In my previous company where I worked, where we worked with all of the biggest telcos in the world, we specifically worked with Azure because we trusted it. I think that maybe something like this, if you're thinking about who can I trust out there, when it comes to custom setups, I think that you can set stuff up with Supabase, or like someone mentioned last week with Pinecone, or even private cloud instances. But I think it's definitely a bigger step, or the next step of you laying down the groundwork. And I think what matters the most is understanding your use cases. If, for example, your clients are in the health niche or in the legal niche, you're definitely going to need to start thinking about, how can I improve the security here as fast as I can and make it as good as I can? Because this is going to be very impactful, right? So I think that if I were anyone, to be honest, I would always start with a cloud storage one, and I would just see how that works and then start thinking about different ways that I can protect data of my clients, if that makes sense. Maybe this isn't your goal, but when I'm thinking of the top of my dome, it's like, what if we create something to always allocate the data in Supabase? And that way, it's always protected. In a sense, it always is stored in the same location. Also, that would be protected with two-factor authentication. I think it's under discussed. And I wish I could give you a more in-depth answer than what I'm saying. But I would definitely use a cloud storage, probably to begin with, like I said, AWS or Azure, and then see if I need to expand. If you have more questions on that, Arnett, drop them. Maybe I can give some more answers. But I see Avery raised his hand. Avery, welcome. I know you also DM'd me. I know you were here on, I think, Monday's call with Dr. Jeff. So how are you doing, Avery? How can I help?
I'm doing well. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly well. Thank you for asking.
Okay, excellent. My company is ARX Capital Brokers. I'm an independent broker that's partnered with a fintech company that specializes in giving small business loans. My role in this situation is to basically drive applications through my landing page. It's a white label.
Okay.
And that goes on to an online application. And basically, I get commission on anything that closes from there. So basically, the only thing I need to do is get people to sign up with the application. And if it closes, and they take it from there. Underwriting, all the heavy lifting is basically done after that. What I need help with is building an efficient AI-driven marketing and automation like around this funnel. Driving traffic to my landing page, automating follow-ups, and particularly the social media content. That's really what I want to focus on right now. So basically, that's what I'm working with right now. Here, I have a HeyGen account, 11 Labs, ChatGPT 5. I've messed around with Nano Banana, and I am in the process of putting together my N8N account.
Nice.
I'll actually be doing that today.
Nice. All right, Avery, I love it. Again, sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, but
Just saying it right.
nice, awesome. All right, well, Avery, this is what I think. First, let's start on the lead capture side and leads generation and lead nurture whole thing. The way I would actually take a look at that, and the way that I would, if I were in your shoes and I'm thinking about, okay, I want to have a process that is going to be in place, that is going to be solid, and it's going to help me, every time a lead comes in, I capture it correctly. I basically create a lead instance within my CRM, and from there I nurture it. The way I would think about this is actually, yes, in an automation sense, but outside of N8N for now, and I'll explain why. There is a lot of great CRMs out there that have the ability to create automation flows or automation workflows within this necessity. Now, why am I saying outside of N8N for this specific use case? Because it's just a lot better for longevity as well as data collection, because everything will be going in a central place, aka your CRM. This is theoretically also doable on N8N. It would just require multiple instances of workflows, and it might just cost you more at the end of the day versus subscribing to something like GHL or HubSpot. So maybe you already use them. I am not sure what specifically you use or how you built out your landing page as well as your contact form or opt-in form or whatever it is. But this is what I would do if I were you. I would try one of these two, either because from what I'm getting, you're early doors in the sense that you're now starting to collect all this information and all these leads. I would start by just going to one of these two CRMs, either GHL or HubSpot. There are many others. This is just my two preferred ones. From there, I would take a look at creating my lead funnel. So basically, I would create my lead capture and my lead funnel. And from there, I would have a very uniform way of labeling leads. Basically, you can have multiple funnels, and with each of them, you can just have different ways of understanding what stage they're at, whether they're cold leads, warm leads, what funnel they came in from, whether you want to segregate them by, let's say, willing to invest, if that is a question on your form. You know what I'm trying to say. You can really go in, you can go in depth with how you structure your lead base. So for that specific use case, like I was saying, I would use something like this. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay. We have a trillion funnels, to be honest with you. Now, when you go into Go High Level and you create your own kind of like subdomain, because that's the first thing you're going to be able to do, you're going to find things such as forms. Now, forms are basically those little like snippets of opt-ins or capturing data. So I'll show you what it looks like. I'll just open a template so that you guys can kind of understand. This is what it looks like, right? It can just be something like your name, or you can add as many things, or you can create a custom one if you want. But the idea here is to create an opt-in form, right? This is how you do the lead capture part of it. Once one of these is done, which let's just say I'm going to pick this one to show you what the next step is, you basically get a way to integrate it on your page. So regardless if your page is hosted on WordPress, if it's hosted on FI or whatever, you're going to have a way to integrate it with this button up here, right? So basically, you're going to figure out how you want to implement it, whether it's going to be an embed code or whatever it may be. You basically put it on your page. This is what it's going to look like. As you can see, this is just a very template one I selected right off the bat. Now, what does this allow you to do? This allows you to start storing contacts. When you store contacts, the next thing that you can do is under automation, you can actually create workflows that are going to be sending out emails, SMS, WhatsApp. It really depends on how you want to create it. So this is everything for your lead capture, lead gen, and lead nurture side. So if I try to open one of these, but yeah, as you can see, it finds a specific trigger, which can be whatever you want it to be. It can be a tag, it can be a label, it can be whatever. And it basically takes them through an email funnel. Like I said, this email funnel can be modified. You can add a lot of different things. It doesn't have to be an email funnel. It can be an SMS, Slack, even a voicemail, whatever it may be. So this is how I would take a look at that side and automating that, Avery, if I were you, instead of N8N. When it comes to the social media side, I would do that as a second step. Once I set my lead capture in place, the second step I would do is, okay, what can I automate on social media? The number one biggest problem with businesses that we find when we consult or talk to them, it's we always consult them to make sure that the first thing they do with social media is post actively. It's all about consistency. If you're not consistent, it doesn't matter. It absolutely does not matter. So the first system I would set in place for social media is consistent posting. Okay. If you're using 1 channel, 3 channels, 10 channels, doesn't matter. Set up that automation so that it does it every time without you needing to look at it, without you needing to think about it. Avery, I hope this helps. Those are kind of the 2 things I would do first. The first thing is the lead capture, like I just explained, and the second is the social media. Hope this helps at least a little bit.
Is that fine with that?
Yes, that is where I would start using N8N. So I would start using N8N for things where I know I can automate tasks that are very linear or are, in a sense, very from A to Z kind of point. Lead generation, it's not that you can't use N8N, you absolutely can. It's just that it's a very complex process that goes A to G to B to L. You get me? So it's like very back and forth in a very different way. So this is why I recommend something else right now. Maybe in 2 weeks from now, Avery, you come on this class and I'm like, Avery, drop GHL. As of today, N8N can do this. But right now, my recommendation lies here.
Done. Thank you.
Burnett, sounds like you and Julian utilize some sort of hybrid system way of handling data and sharing it between team members. How much do you rely on cloud storage, computing systems for data over physical storage on work, personal computer? Which one takes priority depending on the situation? An example, client data used within the team for projects. My guess is for personal use, personal projects, you mostly use clouds, computing systems without hesitation. Right now, we are very honestly 99% cloud-based. So almost everything we have is cloud stored right now. I think the only things we have physically stored is, I think, some digital assets, maybe like stuff like that, digital assets that we just reuse or stuff like this. But pretty much everything we have our net is digitally stored. Our ecosystem is the Google ecosystem. So a lot of the things we have are in Google Drives. When we need to protect something a little bit more, we just use like a Dashlane specific protected, like a separate account, and we have something stored there. But that's very rare occasions, if I'm honest with you. All right. I wanted to give you guys a little bit more insight into what's to come. So we finished with the 6-week, basically, masterclass that I hosted. I am starting today a new classroom, which will be called Vic's Learning Curve. In there, I actually want to create small lessons for you that are very tangible. A lot of our clients currently struggle to connect something like Facebook Node, for example, or Google Drive Node, because the Google Drive Node needs you to connect to a Google Cloud space. So very small things that are meaningless for some, for others are difficult. So I'm actually going to be doing very small lessons in there. Some of them might be big, but it's going to be very hands-on on how you can do stuff and how you can connect stuff. And there I can also go through testing GPT-5, the agent mode we just saw with Ricardo. And after I go to Abdullah, Ricardo, I'm going to show you what the outcome was of my next thing that I said in terms of the external and internal link. Abdullah, you raised your hand. How are you doing?
Yes. Hi, Vic. How are you?
Doing good. Thank you for asking yourself.
All right. I'm good. Thank you. So I remember we talked last time
Yes,
about the
yes.
AI agent.
Yeah.
So good news. I have a working workflow now, but
Nice.
it's really frustrating. One thing is ChatGPT 5, when I added the API key and
Okay.
then I chose the model to be GPT-5,
Okay.
it returned nothing. So the request time went really long and then it returned nothing. I changed it to GPT-4 and worked. I don't know why.
Ah,
Says
that's a
the
good
Trump.
one.
Yeah.
I think one thing that you might be seeing right now, to be honest with you, Abdullah, and this is just me kind of speculating, is I think GPT-5 currently very flexibly rotates between thinking mode and execution mode. And I think that's a very big problem because we don't necessarily have a way of setting that in N8N right now. It tries to understand on its own what type of mode it needs to use unless you hard set it to something. Whereas with 4.1 turbo or whatever you might be using there, it's kind of a more fixed one, right? So I think, Abdullah, that's what you're facing right now. I would give a little bit more time for ChatGPT 5 before I would try to move to it. Continuously test. But for now, I think 4.1 or whatever you're using is the safer bet.
Okay. And then another question. So another problem I'm facing is consistency.
Okay.
So let me explain to you the workflow. It's just one form submission as a startup, and then PDF extractor, and then a node to clean what's extracted, and then another node to add the KLP, which is words and vocab for each book that the students are studying, and then a node to filter the right KLP. For instance, if the PDF that I uploaded is students studying book 18, this node only extract KLP for book 18, which is, I think it's better for tokens. And then 2 AI agents. one agent is only responsible for words and vocab. It checks if the students are using the right words and vocab. The other agent checks the grammatical range and accuracy and task achievement. Now, I'm thinking maybe I can add 4 AI agents, even though I only upload 50 batches per API request,
Yeah.
because I would execute the same node, the AI agent, and then the results would be different. I added a tool called Think, and then I wrote something in there, but still didn't work. Any help?
Oof. I'm going to be honest with you. This is going to be incredibly hard for me to answer without actually looking at the thing in front of me. I think the most complex thing is when it's not visually in front of you, it's very hard to come up with solutions. Adding more agents can be a good solution, but at the same time, it can also be an avenue where you introduce a lot more chances of error and mistakes. Usually, I like to keep it very linear and brief, up to 2 agents, but sometimes it's a necessity, like maybe you're facing that. It's going to be very hard for me to tell you, yes, this is smart, go with 4 agents. Abdullah, can you record a Loom for me and kind of go over this by showcasing me the automation? If you need to hide stuff, like I told you last time, feel free to do so. The only reason I say for this is because when I look at it in front of me, maybe I'll be able to spot something that is, if you change this or that, it might be better. And last but not least, maybe one of the things I'm going to suggest, and just me being transparent, is a consultation call, because it's incredibly difficult for me to be able to give you a tangible kind of like feedback here, right? When it's so hypothetical, or if this is this, then what does this do kind of scenario.
Yes. Cool.
I hope that makes sense. And yeah,
Yes,
apologies. I couldn't help more.
No, it's all good. Thank you.
No, you're welcome, Abdullah. Nemo, welcome. Unfortunately, you're catching us at the end. We only have 2 minutes left, but welcome. Very nice to see you.
Very nice to see you also, brother.
Hopefully you join me next time, because I would love to hear from you. Victor, welcome as well.
I have a last question, Victor. Maybe just last question. One easy question.
Go for it.
Let's say I want to get on consultation call. How does that take place?
Ping me. My name is Victorian on the AI Profit Boardroom. I will do my best to help you. Just ping me there and I'll give you some information. Before booking anything though, just ask me about stuff, because maybe I can just help you through questions, or just
of course. I guess what you said right now, Loom
video.
video, and then
That's all good. Victor, don't worry about missing this one. It's recorded as always, so you'll be able to watch it. It's actually a pretty good one. I want to round it out for Ricardo before we go. Ricardo, I asked it to implement stuff. Then we asked it to add internal and external links. It worked for 9 minutes and it added 2 links. The internal link is off-page SEO, which goes in line with what is on-page SEO and why is it important. That was the topic. So it did internal research and I think it found an appropriate topic. We're going to see if it linked it well, because I also saved the changes. And it added an external link. A new sentence in the introduction points readers to a comprehensive guide on-page SEO that links to Search Engines Lab's article. And it also updated the meta description, right? So I think everything is, they're still not saved. So I'm just going to say save all, please. If it saves everything, I'm going to load up the page so we can see it. We do have about, like 15 seconds left. So let's see if it does it in this time. If not, Ricardo, I'll just drop you a message on it. Successfully saved. So let's go and see real quick on the page together here. Let's go to, God, where was the blog site? Oh God, blog. Oops, it's under news. There we go. One sec. So it was this article, and here it is. To explore more best practices, see this. And when but it didn't capture the whole sentence, if you notice. So it did mess up on this a little bit. So that's important for us to see. And then it should have added, but it did take us to the page, which is pretty good. So TLDR, it did work. It probably needs some refining.
Is internally working too?
Yeah, I can check that for you. Give me a sec. So let me just find it. It should be on page, off-page SEO. Yes, it is. Let me show you real quick and then I'll stop the recording. So right here, it didn't capture, again, as you can see, this O and this O aren't captured, but here it is. And when I click it, it does load the page it should. So it's just about that refinement. Awesome. Yeah. Ting, thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure. I'll catch you Monday. Hope I was helpful and talk to you soon.
Thank you.